Welcome everyone to Swimming with Sharks, Adventures in Sales Ops. My name is Will Smith. I am your host, and thank you for those of you that are joining us today. In fact, I would like to know where you're joining us from. If you're joining us from Facebook, from Twitter, from YouTube, let me know because I'd love to connect with you. And if you have questions for today's guest, we ask that you please interact with us. Send us a comment with your question based on whatever it may be, and we'll do our best to answer it live. If we can't answer it live, we will get in touch with you based on whatever social media or whatever platform that you use to connect with us. And so, welcome to the show, everyone. And for today's adventure, well, you're listening to the introduction right now. And today's guest is Grace Duncan, and she is with NetSuite. And so we're going to be talking all things ERP. So if you don't know what an ERP is, guess what? Today is your lucky day, because today is the day that you will find out exactly what that is. And so we're excited to have Grace Duncan with us. We're going to wrap our show up with a question of the day because we want to know from you exactly what's happening in your life. And so if you can interact with us based on that question of the day and figuring and getting in touch with us, we would greatly appreciate it. And so let's talk a little bit about Grace. Let me introduce you to Grace Duncan. She is a fitness enthusiast. She loves to try new recipes, which I find amazing because I am not a fan of cooking. Give me a frozen meal any day. So the experimentation in the kitchen, definitely an awesome thing. She's based in the Boston area. So of course that means right now she is covered in snow. And so if we have some issues, technological issues going on today, we're just going to blame it on the snow. It's that simple. I'm based in Pittsburgh. Grace is in the Boston area. Snow is happening no matter where you are, at least on the East Coast here. And so she has traveled to 4 of 7 continents. She's the regional sales manager for Channel for NetSuite. And so please welcome to the show, everyone, Grace Duncan. Welcome, Grace. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. We did have some, just to clue in everybody, we did have some technology issues and we're blaming the snow. So if we kind of fade in or out, those of you that are watching here, we're going to blame the snow. It's that simple. So Grace, tell me, first question, I have to know, is your goal to get to all 7 continents?
Definitely. Yeah. So I've already been to obviously North America, Asia, Africa, and then Europe. So I think next on my list is South America. And then I'd love to get all the rest.
So once the pandemic is over and everything, you're able to travel. That's kind of the first thing that you're going to do.
Oh yeah. I've got my sights set on Argentina.
Ooh, wow. I like the plan. So of the 4 that you visited, which is your favorite?
Oh,
and
it's
why?
so hard.
And why?
I will say, so last year I went to Japan, which I think was, not mainland Asia, but we're counting it in there.
There you go.
But but it was pretty awesome. It's just beautiful. The food was amazing. Easy to travel throughout the country. So yeah, it was a great time.
Fantastic. That sounds really good. So tell me a little bit about, I don't know much about ERPs. So
Sure.
Tell me about NetSuite. Tell me what you do at NetSuite.
Yeah, sure. So ERP is just a fancy term for business management software. So essentially, when you hear that term, you might also hear CRM, which is customer relationship management. Essentially what NetSuite does is it allows companies to automate all of their business processes from the back end, so from accounting and finance to the front end, sales and marketing, so they can run their whole business off of one piece of software rather than having to kind of coordinate data among all of in different systems across the enterprise.
So what does, so we got a lot of acronyms, CRM, what does, you mentioned CRM, what does ERP stand for?
Yep. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning Software. So definitely in the software space, you'll hear all of these words, but once again, just a fancy name essentially for your accounting system, essentially how you manage sales and marketing.
Very good. Thank you. There's so many acronyms out there. I think actually HubSpot even has, and I'm sure you can find it somewhere. You almost like need a dictionary in order to get all these, especially in marketing and, just in all these business and in software, business management. I think it's so important to just clarify that. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. So tell me specifically what you do at NetSuite.
Yeah, sure. So I work with a network of our channel partners. So here at NetSuite, we have kind of two avenues which we sell our product through. We have kind of an internal team of sales reps as well as a huge network of channel partners who, work hand in hand with their clients to try and identify kind of the right solution here at NetSuite with them. So I manage our partners in the Northeast and some in the Midwest, and essentially work with them hand in hand to help their clients find the best solution for them here at NetSuite. I work, Manabyte is one of my partners. So I work kind of day in, day out with you guys to help find kind of the right solutions for your clients.
So would you say that I know it's your job title is regional sales manager, but really when it comes down to it, you said this twice. Basically, you're solving problems. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, really the reason why somebody would, interact with our joint organizations is really to discuss kind of how to make their business processes more efficient. So a lot of times we'll have business owners coming to us and, saying, oh my gosh, my year-end close process is just taking way too long. There's all these manual processes. My poor accountant is buried under a bunch of paperwork. How can we solve this? And really that's kind of the goal of our software, and what our team is here to do is to, identify what the challenges those businesses are facing. And if there are any kind of barriers to how they're doing business today, and barriers to their future goals, so that we can help them, remove those barriers and achieve those goals.
So what's an example of a future goal that you often hear at NetSuite when somebody's implementing NetSuite?
Yeah, definitely. So we work with kind of a whole variety of different companies across multiple industries, but as well as sizes. So, we'll work with firms who start off really small startup who might be, 2, 3 employees. But a lot of times these firms have goals of going public. So, one challenge that we see frequently at NetSuite with our customers is, we really want to grow, but our systems and our processes are holding us back from obtaining that growth. So essentially what we'll do is we'll take a look at what they're doing today and how we can make those processes more efficient, so that when they scale, they have really strong kind of, business backbone and the systems to support that, so that they can achieve those goals of either going public or going international too.
That sounds great. Do a lot of folks, when they come to when they're looking for this kind of solution, I think of ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. I can't imagine a 2 to 3 person operation thinking enterprise. How often does that happen for you guys?
Yeah, so I think there is kind of that misnomer with the kind of the nomenclature that we use. A lot of times what we'll see is we'll see these small companies that are growing really rapidly, who might be running on something like a QuickBooks. So they started off as a mom and pop shop, and then all of a sudden, let's say Good Morning America picks up their product, and now selling it off the shelves, and now they can't keep enough inventory to meet the demand, because they don't have the proper systems in place to measure that inventory and to plan for that demand. So we do see it often, and I think the word enterprise is probably a misnomer, because we work with these companies that are what we would call mid-market firms, but then also we have several customers in our customer base we work with who are publicly traded entities.
So could you, I love that example with Good Morning America. Can you give me, has that actually happened?
Yeah, so I think a good example would be, especially with the pandemic, right? So
Hmm.
there's been some really interesting winners, and unfortunately, there's been a lot of losers based off of the pandemic. But what we've seen is a lot of our customers in the manufacturing space were able to pivot to making PPE. And so we're able to fulfill those needs for masks and face shields. And the reason why they were able to do that is because they had such great visibility into their inventory, the raw materials that they had on hand. They could really quickly kind of capitalize on that situation and pivot to help kind of help the local governments and the federal government meet that need for supplies. So definitely we do see that happen a lot. And this pandemic has been kind of a really interesting example of it.
That's a great example. I love that, folks were able to help out. Businesses were able to pivot quickly just by being able to have more visibility into what's happening in their business. So even though this may not be their main source of what they're known for, they were able to switch and help others. Talk about really solving problems. That's a great story. I love that. I sometimes,
Yeah, definitely.
I,
And it's been really interesting to watch kind of some of our customers grow and develop and, add some additional products in there to kind of meet the current market needs.
Yeah. No, I sometimes imagine like somebody on Shark Tank, and all of a sudden their their business is just booming and they need some help here. So I think that's great that NetSuite can provide that sort of help. Tell me a little bit about tell me an average day for you. What's your day to day like?
Yeah, sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, I support kind of a broad network of our partners in North America who are, working to sell NetSuite into kind of a variety of verticals and marketplaces. So, my typical day to day would be hopping on calls with kind of the partners who I'm supporting, doing some business planning, some sales strategy, thinking about where there could be ripe opportunities to go and identify a client, and kind of how we're going to formulate a plan of attack.
Nice. Okay. Great. So I take it you like. How long have you been with NetSuite?
Yeah, so I've been with NetSuite for coming up on 5 years now. Um,
Congratulations. Good.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a while. I've seen it all. I started prior to the Oracle acquisition, so I've definitely seen some changes here at NetSuite. But yeah, it's been a great spot to be.
So a lot of success stories that you've seen, I'm sure, based on the what you guys are doing, what NetSuite is doing to help customers solve problems. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And uh, it's really kind of interesting to see. We have unfortunately our annual conference got canceled this year, but typically it's in Vegas. It's called Sweet World, and it's just a really great opportunity for our customers to share their growth stories. So we have, as I mentioned, customers in kind of all different verticals. So across the retail space, software, services, manufacturing, wholesale distribution, um, and then even nonprofits. So it's always great to kind of the different ways that NetSuite has been able to enable these businesses and also these nonprofits to achieve their mission.
If you were to pick a favorite vertical, what would that be? Now, of course, we are live, so we're not going to tell. Of course, you love all the verticals that NetSuite services. However, if you were to pick a favorite vertical, what would it be and why?
I do love all the verticals. I do think our nonprofit offering is really special. Essentially, what we'll do is we have um, a donation instance of NetSuite, which enables kind of smaller nonprofits to kind of experience the power of our software pro bono. And we'll have, either some of my partners will go and implement for the nonprofit pro bono, or we'll have a team of NetSuite reps come in and implement it pro bono. So I think that's kind of something that's pretty unique to NetSuite and special. And I also like it too because we'll have we have a hackathon every year where if our nonprofits will come to us and say we're experiencing this very real challenge, what would be the best way to address it in NetSuite? And we kind of send it across to our entire employee network and see kind of who can come up with the best solution. So it's kind of, it's kind of a nice way to be in sales, but also feel like you're giving back a little bit. So
Now, what makes you say that? I guess, is it the typical, I guess, trope of the salesperson, that is, they're just there to separate you from the money. You're there to separate me from my money, and you'll use every trick of the book to make that happen. First of all, I find that hard to believe, that somebody meets with you and that's how they feel. But how do you combat that? That kind of, I guess, that typical salesperson. How do you combat that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being in this industry, you get that assumption often, and it's just really important to build that rapport with your clients. I always like to come in with I work with my partners, and we come in with a very consultative approach. We're not coming in with a solution in mind to sell them. We're coming in to really listen to their business challenges and trying to think how our product could potentially present a solution to those. But I never want to come into a meeting thinking with a dollar amount assigned. I want to make sure that we are really kind of listening to the client, and hearing their challenges and providing more than just kind of positioning our piece of software, but really kind of a set of leading practices and business processes that we've seen work for others in the industry and other leaders in the industry who are doing it well, and provide that value.
Do you have a favorite discovery question that you ask almost every single time, no matter who you're talking to? And why do you have that favorite question that you always ask?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think probably if I had to boil it down to one, it would be really pinpointing on a specific headache or problem, and asking, let's say the year-end close, right? And asking a client, okay, what would it mean? What would the business impact be if we could reduce this time by half? What would that mean to you? How would that help, your employees? Where could you reallocate that time? And really kind of figuring out how important or how disruptive that process is today to them, and what we can do to make it more efficient.
That's a great question. Do you find that asking that question, does that really kind of uncover a lot of things, or just helps the person that you're speaking with just really open up?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, as sales folks, really our job is to listen more than it is to talk. And I think, what we want to do is make sure our clients feel heard, because they're coming to us because they're frustrated and they want, help solving a problem. So definitely those calls are all about kind of hearing their story, and kind of pinpointing, where we can present a solution.
Can you give me an example of and you don't have to mention names or anything specific like that, but can you give me an example of a very unique implementation of NetSuite that maybe kind of is thinking outside the box?
Yeah, sure. So we have something that's kind of a great differentiator about NetSuite is that we have great subsidiary management. So essentially you can roll up multiple subsidiaries and run them off of one software to the parent company. So I had a client who's based in Texas, and they're kind of a big, kind of like a holding company, but more of like a big kind of a company that owns a lot of different companies that do very different things.
Okay. I think we lost you for a second there. Looks like Grace has. Looks like the snow has gotten us, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you that are watching live, it looks like the snow has definitely gotten to us, and it looks like Grace is actually frozen here. So I'm going to switch back to just coming in this way, and I want to thank Grace for that. I really wanted to hear the rest of that story. So if we are able to get Grace back, we will continue asking her about NetSuite and about and about the ERP, the enterprise resource planning software that is NetSuite. So for those of you that are just joining us, unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties, and we're having some trouble getting Grace back on here. And I think mostly we're going to blame it on the snow. She's based in the Boston area, and I am based in Pittsburgh, and we both got a lot of snow. I think Boston got a lot more snow than Pittsburgh. So it's very possible that that is the issue that we're having here. So for those of you that are joining us, if you do have any questions, wherever you're watching from, if it is on Facebook, if it is on YouTube, or if it is on Twitter, please ask your questions of Grace, and I think we are able to get her back. Let's just double check and see if we're able to, because this was a great story. She was really helping us understand how NetSuite can really get some of the implementations can be thought of outside of the box. So let's see how Grace is doing. Grace, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, sorry about that,
No,
everyone.
that's not your fault.
We are going to blame it on the snow. I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
I just spent about the last minute and a half explaining the snow situation and the technical difficulties that we had. And you were really getting on a great roll there, and I was excited to hear how you were implementing this NetSuite in a very kind of outside of the box situation. So could you kind of give us a quick summary and then kind of jump back in?
Yep. Sorry about that, everyone.
No problem. Hey, that's how people know we're live. Anything can happen. So
that's very true. So we had this client who was essentially a holding company, had several different businesses under their belt, none related to one another, just really kind of all verticals. And they were managing all of those businesses off of 15 instances of QuickBooks.
Oh my gosh.
So they had 15 general ledgers in QuickBooks. So their poor accountant, we got on the phone, and this poor woman, I mean, she was just stressed beyond belief. Because imagine doing any sort of roll up to the corporate level. So what we were able to do is actually bring all of those entities managed under one instance of NetSuite. And put them all into different subsidiaries so that they could roll all of their finances up to the parent company. And it just made a world of difference. They just went live actually recently in January. Very happy. It was so funny when we were going through kind of our demo with their controller. She just was in shock because she had no idea that this was the way it could be. She just thought that running the business off of 15 instances of QuickBooks was kind of her only option. So it was really great to kind of see the progress that we were able to achieve with them.
Now, follow-up question: are you getting her on to tell her story at the next Suite World?
I hope so. I mean, I haven't discussed it yet with her, but we'll see.
It sounds like she could probably be your number one fan just for making her life that much easier.
Yeah, I think she would definitely be a good candidate.
I can't believe 15 instances of QuickBooks. That is a lot. So you came in, swooped in, and were able to be the superhero. Yes.
Not all heroes wear capes, but yes, I would like to assume so.
Excellent. I love that you put it that way. So that's a great case study or a great story about how you've able to really help with NetSuite. But let's say that I'm not let's say I come to NetSuite and I'm not in such a dire situation. What would you say would be some of the benefits of implementing an ERP solution like NetSuite? What are some benefits?
Yeah, definitely. So, a lot of our customers come to us because they have challenges, but challenges aside, kind of the way we solve those is by having all of your business areas on one piece of software. You have visibility into all areas of the enterprise in real time. So you're not waiting for information to queue or be transferred over from another system. So you as a business owner know that you are making decisions based off of the cleanest data you can. If you have it in real time, and you can see kind of all areas of your operations. Where this especially comes into, or it becomes very important, is when you look at your customers, right? So, you want your customers are your lifeline as a business, and you want to make sure that you're giving them the best experience possible. If you have, let's say, your inventory in one system and your accounting in another, if you process a sales order and your accounting, you don't have the inventory to back that up. That's when we get into situations where we're not delivering on behalf of our customers. So definitely kind of having that real time view of your data, being able to have kind of a 360-degree view across the enterprise is really important. And then I would say also just kind of the scalability. So as I mentioned, some of these customers, really just blew up overnight because of the pandemic, or because of kind of just the switch to more of an e-commerce and online storefront piece. The great part about NetSuite is when you need more software, we turn it on. So the kind of the possibilities are endless. We like to position it really as kind of the last ERP you will ever need, because it's really designed to grow with a small organization all the way up to achieving their goals of going public.
So it's really designed to basically grow with you rather than having to make an entire change and then make another change when you need more software or as you're growing. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, definitely. That's the way we position it. We like to kind of use a stairway model, if you can think of that, and really kind of, okay, you might be at this point in your development and growth, but what do you need to get to this stage, and so on and so on. And we're really there to support from a software and a business process perspective, so that business can reach the next step of their development.
So how do you, I love that you said support. How does support work for NetSuite? How do you ensure that not only are they growing, but not only the people that are using NetSuite, they're growing, but how do you kind of is it a check-in? Is it a quarterly thing? How does that work?
Yeah, sure. So, working with the Manobite team, when we bring on clients, you kind of have the added benefit of working with both the vendor and a local presence. So, you have a lot of hand holding from the Manobite team who would be able to support you with, training on the product, any additional kind of consulting you would need. And then on the NetSuite side of the equation, anything from the technical side of the equation, we would support. Then you also continue to have a sales resource as well, and an account manager, really to make sure that everything's going smoothly and that you guys, that customer would have everything they need to be successful.
So you really have a team of individuals, whether it's Manobite and NetSuite, making sure that the implementation is working well and that it's still serving the customer's needs.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big team effort. As I mentioned earlier, really the benefit of working with kind of a partner and the vendor is you get the best of both worlds. So you have the support of kind of a huge software product, then you also have that local presence, and that face to the name of somebody you can call who might even be across the street from your office building,
Right.
and be able to even just run over and take a look if something's wrong.
That's true. I mean, anytime that you can collaborate with anybody, certainly you get, like you said, the best of both worlds. It's helpful for everyone. So, can you give me an example of a great instance of collaboration that has really benefited the customer?
Yeah, I mean, so typically, like I said, when working with partners, um, our customers are able to get support from both the partner and the vendor. So what's great about, or a great kind of example of collaboration is if a customer is having a huge problem, they not only get the support of NetSuite, but also the partner. So, typically what our partners will do is work with them on a consultative side, because a lot of times what we think might be technical issues might actually be process issues and how we're, maybe configuring the system. So a lot of times I'll work hand in hand with my partners to identify if it's truly kind of a technical issue or a process issue. And then essentially we'll, bring that back to the client and, create a solution based off of what they need.
So it's more than just, here's the software, good luck. It's really analyzing the business, the processes, what they're doing now, how could they improve those as well. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. It's, we don't, you're not, you sign on and good luck with that. It's really kind of just the first stage of the journey is, getting onto the software. And then it's kind of a consistent check-in, a consistent evaluation of, how we're using it. Are you getting the most out of it that you can be? We also release 2 annual upgrades every year. So our customers are getting kind of new functions and new features pushed out to them that our partners are also trained on and helping to support. So there's kind of you can't really shake us once you're once you're in it. We're there.
We're not going to leave you alone. We're going to help
Yes.
you. That's a great phrase. You can't shake us once you've. So that's good. And unfortunately, too many times software companies just say, "Here it is. Good luck. You should know how to use it." Can you describe for me? Do you have like a set onboarding process, or is there is every onboarding different depending upon the customer's needs?
Yeah, so I would say there's, a typical process, but definitely, there's no kind of cookie cutter approach. Every client is different and we want to respect and treat your business as unique as it is. So we acknowledge that, you have unique needs. And so one really kind of the implementation process and just kind of how that works is relatively standard. But there are very different ways that our partners implement. And the benefit of working once again with both NetSuite and the partner is that you're getting the kind of standard process and procedures from the NetSuite side of the equation, but you're getting the personal flair and the extra hand holding and support from the partner, because everybody kind of packages consulting services and implementation services a little differently, and that's really where our partners can add a lot of value.
So one of the spaces that Manobite specializes in is building material manufacturers. Can you tell me a little bit about implementing NetSuite for a building material manufacturer? Have you gone through that process?
Yeah, sure. So I don't think I've done it for a building material manufacturer, but definitely the manufacturing space in general is one we're very strong in. Especially mainly along the lines of discrete manufacturing. We've got lots of customers within that space and that vertical that we sell to, and really why we kind of are a great fit there is because we have a very strong inventory and warehouse management operations that are, once again, part of the same platform with our financials and our customer relationship management. So it really makes essentially helps to automate the whole manufacturing process.
Okay.
And allows our manufacturers to really coordinate their demand based off of, or their demand planning based off of, what their customers need, and being able to anticipate that so they don't have additional inventory sitting on the shelf because that's wasted money. So we definitely, see a lot of customers in that space.
So would you say it really helps them get very efficient?
Yeah, definitely. If we look at manufacturing, it's so complex. There's so many different processes that need to be monitored. So really, when we think about manufacturing, the bottom line is we want to make sure that the cost of manufacturing those goods We keep that low so that when we turn around and sell it, you can make a good margin.
Hmm.
NetSuite is great for, monitoring kind of all of the considerations that go into producing that margin. So that's really where our partners can get more, or excuse me, our customers are getting a lot of value out of.
I think that sounds great, especially when it comes to efficiency. That's so important, especially when you have such a large warehouse that it's sometimes materials just get lost, and so
Yeah.
NetSuite can definitely help with that. I love that. So tell me a little bit about reporting. So it's one thing on the day to day that I'm sure monitoring. NetSuite helps with that. But what about on the back end when we're looking at reporting? How does NetSuite help with reporting?
Yeah, sure. So, really, our financial reporting is probably the strongest part of our software.
Mm,
So, we were founded back in 1998, actually or we were formerly called Net Ledger,
okay.
after the general ledger. So, we have always been very strong with our finance and accounting functionality. Um, kind of all of your standard accounting features, so GL, AP, AL. But then, in addition to that, kind of reporting is something that we do very well. And we even have an additional kind of reporting tool that our customers can leverage if they need even more advanced kind of capabilities.
Are you able to bring HR into NetSuite as well? Is that an element that you can bring in there? It's basically people management.
Yeah, definitely. So, if we think of kind of the core functionality of NetSuite, which is truly that kind of accounting and finance function in conjunction with that sales and marketing, um, human capital management, or HR, extremely important, is also something that we offer. We have a solution which we call Suite People. So here at NetSuite, we love to use the word suite with everything that we do. So Suite People is for our HR systems, and definitely kind of furthers the mission of NetSuite, which is to be able to run all areas of the business off of that one piece of software.
That sounds great. I love that you use "sweet" in everything. It
It's
makes
all
it
Suite.
it makes it easy to remember. It makes it easy to say what's the element here. Obviously, with HR, it's very clear. Sweet people. That is, I like that a lot. Really, really nice. So, have you had anyone ever outgrow NetSuite? Where they had to find some other resource, or were you able to grow with them most of the time?
Yeah, so I would say, really our target market, for the most part, is companies that are under 200 million. That's 200 million in revenue. That's really our sweet spot. That being said, we do have customers who are, in the enterprise
Mhm.
space. Um, you know, in the reality is, a customer could be using NetSuite forever. Sometimes when customers get large enough, they'll decide to maybe use NetSuite at the subsidiary level, and then use maybe something kind of a little larger, more built for the enterprise, like an Oracle, um, at kind of the headquarter level. But
Mhm.
definitely, we see um, customers of all sizes leveraging the platform.
So this is fascinating to me. This is great information because I really didn't know a lot about NetSuite or your ERP solutions. So if somebody listening out there right now wanted to know more, what would be the best way? What would be the best way? Just look up NetSuite. Should they get in touch with you? What would be the best way to find out more?
Yeah, definitely. So I would suggest working with the Manobite team, and
Thank you.
myself. So Sammy at Manobite is our kind of relationship lead on the NetSuite side of the equation. So we work hand in hand. So we can definitely, you know, filter through any questions, and would love to discuss anything further, if anybody has questions. So both myself, so Sammy at manobite.com is Sammy's email. Mine is Duncan at netsuite.com. So happy to field kind of any questions or interest. We'd love to schedule a chat.
Yeah, that would be great. And if you want to get to know Sammy a little bit better, she was actually on this show, I think the third or fourth episode. So if you want to get to know what Sammy is all about and how she helps implement NetSuite, you can check that out there. So Grace, thank you so much for getting through the snow, getting through the technology issues that we had. I really appreciate you joining us here today. Do you have any final thoughts for our? Let me ask you this, and I know this is a bit of a surprise, so if you need a moment to think about it, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received, and would you be willing to share it with our audience?
All right. Well, from a business perspective, I would say the best piece, and this is just probably has nothing to do with what we're really talking about now, but but the best piece of advice I ever received was to choose your manager, not your job.
Okay.
And I think that it's pretty fitting. But that doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about today.
Well, that's why we save it for the end of the the end of the show here. How about the best in general outside of business advice? Do you have anything that just life advice? I mean, obviously you're an adventurer looking to hit all 7 continents. Sammy's an adventurer as well. So, what's the best piece of life advice that you would like to provide for our audience today?
Oh my.
No pressure.
probably just to be true to yourself. If you're true to yourself and you are, kind of living every day with the best intentions, I think for the most part things will go your way. So that would be kind of my fleeting thoughts.
I love it. I love it. That's great advice, and we've actually heard that before. Sammy said something very, very similar to that. And I think that's good for both in life and in business as well. Being true to yourself, no matter what, that's important. So, Grace, thank you so much. It was great to have you on the show, and we appreciate you being here.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we will talk to you soon, and of course, Manobite does do a lot of stuff with NetSuite. So if you want to talk to Grace or talk to Sammy at Manobite, we can certainly. It's not a salesy approach, as we talked about before. It's more of a consultative approach. So if you have questions, hopefully we can help you for your specific business. So thanks again, Grace. We'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty.
All right, bye now. So in light of that, we're going to talk a little bit about collaboration because, one of the things that really impressed me about NetSuite is that it brings together all kinds of different areas of your business into one space. And so this is almost fundamental for collaboration. And so my question for you for this week, if you would please interact in some way, shape, or form on social media, wherever you are, what has been your best collaboration tool? Has it been the is it something as simple as Slack? Has that helped you with your collaboration? And I'll be honest with you, I have a free account with my family because I found it so much easier to, rather than texting each other, my kids are in high school, so I found it so much easier to just put them on Slack. So we have an entire Smith family Slack. So I know that's a little bit technologically nerdy of me, but hey, that's how I roll. But what about you? What has been your best collaboration tool in your organization? Something as simple as Slack? Is it putting together a CRM? What CRM is that? Or implementing an ERP? And what ERP has that been? What is the best collaboration tool for your organization is the question of the week. So please let us know what your answers are there by interacting with us, because really that's the best way that we can learn. So let's start a conversation. And until next time, please get in touch with us, Manobite, on all of the socials here. You can contact me, will.smith@manobite.com. And until next time, take care of yourself and take care of each other, and may all your adventures be great.